Most people will never play in the NBA simply because, well, they aren't tall enough. The average height of an NBA player is listed at 6'7", which is almost a foot taller than the average American male, which is listed at 5'9". Despite this huge difference in height that some may call an advantage, some shorter players have played and even excelled in the NBA, but not many. Stay tuned to check out the NBA ballers that were still able to make a huge splash in the league despite their height. Hey guys, I'm Britt Johnson. Make sure you follow me on social media at I am Britt Johnson and click subscribe to the Fumble if you haven't already. The NBA may be full of giants, but today, the little guys of the league are getting some love too. I will be counting down my picks for my favorite NBA players of all time under 6 feet tall. These, of course, are going to be in no particular order because, in this case, how high or how low you are doesn't really matter. First, we have Earl Boykin. Doesn't Earl just sound like an old G's name, first of all? This former baller stood at only 5'5", which is only an inch taller than I am. Wow! He's truly a come-up story because Earl had only one college scholarship out of high school, and that was to Eastern Michigan, where he played for 4 years. He eventually had his number 11 jersey retired from the university. After graduating from Eastern Michigan in 1998, Boykins went undrafted in the NBA's draft. That did not stop this 5'5", 135-pounder who reportedly could bench, check this out guys, over 300 pounds. On February 7th, 1999, Earl made his debut in the NBA and never looked back. Boykins went on to have a very long NBA career, playing 13 seasons for 11 different NBA teams, including playing for the Cavs in his hometown of Cleveland. During his NBA career, Earl averaged 8.9 points, 1.3 rebounds, and 3.2 assists per game. Not bad for a guy who was 5'5", undrafted, and only received one college scholarship. Next to make my shorty doo-wop list of my favorite ballers under 6 feet is Avery Johnson, who most of you guys probably know from coaching. Avery has been the head coach for the University of Alabama's basketball team, but recently mutually parted ways with the school after losing in the first round of the NIT in 2019. Prior to that, Avery coached in the NBA with the Mavericks as well as the Nets. But let's take it all the way back to 1983, before all of us were probably born. Avery started out at a junior college before playing at several four-year schools to end up being undrafted in 1988. This 5'10" baller's career only went up from there. Johnson is the reason why there's a term called the floor general, because that's exactly what the baller was, which kind of makes sense that he went on to have a long, great coaching career after he left the NBA. He was instrumental in the Spurs' success through the 90s and actually helped the team win a championship in 1999. Johnson was so important to the Spurs' success that his number 6 jersey has since been retired by the team. He also played for the Rockets, Warriors, Nuggets, and Supersonics during his NBA career. Although Johnson just left the program at Alabama, it won't be long before this 5'10" baller is back inspiring players again as a head coach. Next on my list is Ty Lawson, who was built more like a running back instead of an NBA baller. Lawson, who is a former Tar Heel, whoop whoop, is about 195 pounds and is thicker than a Snicker and is listed at 5'11". Now, guys, I personally know Ty Lawson, so I'm just gonna put it out there. Ty, you ain't no damn 5'11", boo-boo, but whatever, you could say that. Ty didn't struggle to make it to the top like my first 2 selections though. This guy is totally different. The NBA baller was highly scouted in high school and went on to attend one of the top college basketball programs in the country, UNC. What up, though? During his junior year in 2009, the Tar Heels won a national championship. After the big win, Ty decided to not return to the college for his senior season, and he entered into the 2009 NBA draft and was drafted in the 2nd round. As of late, the 31-year-old baller has struggled to remain on a team and has even spent some time playing overseas. But when he was good, boy, was Ty good. His most memorable NBA years would be his time spent with the Nuggets from 2009 to 2015. During those 5 seasons, Lawson had his best one ever in the 2013-2014 season, where he averaged 17.6 points and 8.8 assists per game. Injuries and off-the-court legal issues led to Lawson's NBA exit. Next on my list of faves is a dynamic mate from down under, Mr. Patty Mills. Mills barely makes this list because he is listed at 6 foot. But like I said about Ty Lawson, he's probably a tad shorter than that. There are some other guys like Chris Paul or Allen Iverson who check in at 6 feet too. But number one, I think they are actually really 6 feet. And two, I kind of just really wanted to try out my Australian accent, so I added him to the list. I mean, there's not a lot of Australian players in the NBA. Let's remember, this is my list of faves, so you know what, guys? I can do what I want to do. Patty Mills first played in the NBA back in 2009 for the Trailblazers after attending St. Mary's College of California. His number 13 jersey retired by the university. Shortly after being drafted in the NBA had the lockout of 2011. I know a lot of you guys remember that, which sent Patty Mills packing his bags and heading back to Australia to play for the Melbourne Tigers to keep that money rolling in. After the lockout in 2012, Patty joined the Spurs and, well, never looked back. Since playing for the Spurs, Patty has won an NBA championship in 2014, but that's not the only piece of metal he's won. Patty Mills actually has 3 gold medals for playing for the Australian national basketball team. Patty is still playing on the Spurs, who are headed to the NBA playoffs now. Let's move this list right along to a player whose name says it all when it comes to his height. Spud Webb. His birth name is Anthony Webb, but I think Spud fits him perfectly. This former NBA star paved the way for short ballers everywhere. Spud was only 5'7" and 132 pounds when he entered the league, but stood taller than most ballers who were a foot taller or more. The challenge was nothing new for Spud, though. In high school, he was only 5'3" when he started dunking. That's right, guys. The man was dunking on people at 5'3". Now, that is what I call some hops. He was drafted in the 4th round of the 1985 NBA draft, and less than a year later, made the biggest splash ever when he not only participated but won the 1986 All-Star Slam Dunk Contest at only 5'7". At the time, he was the shortest player to ever even compete in the Slam Dunk Contest. During the contest, his dunks included the elevator 2-handed double pump dunk, the off the backboard one-handed jam, a 360-degree helicopter one-handed dunk, a reverse double pump slam, and finally, the reverse two-handed strawberry jam from a lob bounce off the floor. Whoo, child, these dunks gave this man 2 50-point scores in the final round, which equals perfection and a giant win for short ballers everywhere. He actually went on to train Nate Robinson for the dunk contest. Nate also won the contest, and Nate and Spud stand tall and proudly as the only 2 ballers under 6 feet tall to ever win a slam dunk all-star contest. So while we are already giving him a nice smooth intro, let's head into the next person on my list, Nate Robinson. Besides winning the dunk contest, Nate has done some other awesome things too for an NBA player who is standing only 5'9". Nate the Great is what they call him. Growing up, Nate excelled at everything, especially football, which was his main sport growing up. Nate earned a full athletic scholarship at the University of Washington for football. His father was a former Huskies football player as well, and even played pro ball for the Eagles for 1 season. Most people thought, of course, Nate would follow in his father's footsteps, but he he had some other things in mind, like basketball. After receiving his football scholarship, Robinson made a change of heart, deciding to commit himself to basketball full-time, although he's almost a foot shorter than the average-sized NBA player. Nate ended up being selected with the 21st pick of the 2005 NBA draft. Remember that slam dunk contest I was telling you about that he won? Well, surprise, surprise, guys, Nate didn't just win one of those contests. He won 3 of them in 2006, he won one in 2009, and in 2010, gaining the title of one of the best little dunkers of all time. Nate has played on over 8 pro teams and at 34 years old is still hooping today playing basketball overseas. Now, I know I've talked about a lot of great guys, but I cannot have a video without talking about my personal favorite baller, under 6 feet tall. You guys know this guy. He's the king of the little guys, Muggsy. Now, Muggsy, let me tell you guys about Muggsy. He was a pesky little point guard that was quick and hard for other ballers to guard. I mean, he could literally probably just go between most of the players' legs if he really wanted to. Muggsy stood at 5'3", which, guys, is shorter than I am. Hey, little guy, how are you? Oh, and let's not forget he holds the title for the shortest guy to ever play in the NBA. Despite his height, Muggsy had an impressive, legendary career at Wake Forest and was selected with the 12th overall pick of the 1987 NBA draft after winning a gold medal as a member of the USA national team. Muggsy's NBA career lasted over a decade, averaging 7.7 points, 2.6 rebounds, and 7.6 assists during his NBA career. Muggsy really shined on defense, though. This is where he really got in. He had quick hands and even quicker feet, and was one of those kings known for forcing turnovers. Now, that's how you guys got to do it. So that is going to do it for my list of my favorite little guys in the league. Let me know if I missed anyone that you guys personally like in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, click subscribe, and shop the Fumble store for the latest game day gear. I'm your host, Britt Johnson for the Fumble, and I'll see you guys soon.